Welcome to the Tom Greene Show. Surprisingly, it is now week 8 in the NFL. Time flies, doesn't it?
Oh, it goes real fast.
With that, the Greene Draft once again is back. This is his third straight week on the show. And we might as well name him our official NFL co-host.
Glad to be here.
You are now our official co-host
Glad to be here.
of the NFL show. Of course, Adam, Dustin, we have the college and NHL shows, but now we got Cole for our NFL analysis. So, last week, I had a less than impressive week for me. I did make a mistake when I announced I was in the top 1.1%. I'm actually like 12,700 and something now. I thought it was 61st. That was how many points I had.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still in the top 2.5% of ESPN. I just have a long ways to go to number one, more than I thought. With that being said, I went 8-7 last week to bring my total up to 71-36, which is 11 wins better than what I was last year. How did Cole do?
Well, last week I went 10-5, and now on this show I'm officially 29-15.
That's pretty good.
Almost 75%. I'll take it for right now.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we might have to bring up his average or something like that, so at the end you can see if who wins and who gets embarrassed. Who knows? But anyway, first off, let's start with the Thursday night game. Tampa Bay or against Carolina, or should I say Mike Glennon against Cam Newton.
Well, this game is going to be quite an interesting game. I feel like Tampa Bay might have a little bit of advantage while being at home, but Carolina, the last 2 weeks, they have looked pretty impressive. Of Cam Newton playing 2 great games in the last 2 weeks. And that offense and defense looking very well. Tampa Bay right now, again, having a little struggle as new quarterback there as well and trying to figure out what's going on there. But Victor Jackson has been doing a great job for that team in Tampa Bay. But in this one, I got to give Carolina the advantage in a 24-14 win.
Does Tampa Bay play Jacksonville this year, do you know?
I don't believe so.
Well, that then justifies my point that I'm going to make here. It is possible, and I'm sorry to the state of Florida, but it is possible this year that there could be 2 0-16 teams, and Tampa Bay is one of them. They looked a little more impressive than I thought last week, but I still have my real doubts on this team. Once again, like I said last week, the only thing that's good going on for Tampa Bay right now is that ship in the back of the south end zone, whatever that is, at Raymond James Stadium. Carolina wins this game, although I'm not a big fan of Cam Newton. I like Mike Tolbert, though. I like that name. Carolina wins this game 28-21, and Greg Schiano's seat gets hotter. New Orleans against Buffalo.
Well, yeah, Buffalo here, they're trying to get something going here as well, as they've had a couple of good weeks, but both came on as losses, sadly, against Miami last week. They had a loss, too.
They beat Miami.
Did they beat Miami? Oh, they did beat Miami. That's right. Correct. Thank you for that. I was thinking they lost for some reason.
Because I changed my pick and I lost.
No, did you? Okay, my bad about that. They beat Miami, so yeah, they did a good job last week with that. I don't know, I'm thinking because I saw them behind in my last check, I think, and that's where I got all messed up. But and them beating Miami was actually a surprise to me on that one, because I didn't think they had a good enough team to beat Miami, who looked great at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. But then you also have a New Orleans team, though, that's been outstanding this season and only been stopped by the Patriots and barely stopped by the Patriots on the last second drive. And New Orleans coming off fresh, I believe, after a bye week last week.
Yes, I think so.
And after a bye week, I think this team is going to be all refreshed and ready to go against this Buffalo team. And I have New Orleans taking the win here, 27-7.
Well, the bye week really helped New Orleans in this situation because they were heartbroken by your Patriots. Yes, they are his Patriots, not New England's Patriots, his Patriots. But the bye week really helps him here, and then Buffalo, who has just problems in the quarterback scenario, even though they did pull out a victory last week over Miami. You got to admit, Drew Brees, Marquise Colston, Pierre Thomas, all of them. A good team down there. New Orleans should be able to win this game 31-20 at the Superdome. Kansas City against Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland going over some more little issues here on the offensive side now, as they have a new starting quarterback this week in Jason Campbell. And that'll be his first start in, I believe, like 2 or 3 years, if I'm correct. As that offense, who was struggled, I thought, last week, and not an impressive game at all, as they have no running game right now, as Wes McGahee, he's making the running game better, but not that much better this year. And then they have some great wide receivers on that team, and their defense is outstanding so far this year, but Cleveland has some work to do on offense, and they got a Kansas City team who's outstanding on defense this year. Alex Smith, who's been doing a great job as a quarterback for that team his first year there. Andy Reid, who's been outstanding as a coach there. As mentioned, they're still undefeated, 7-0 right now. Dorenos Charles, the entire offense and defense of that team is just outstanding. And again, they are the only undefeated team left in the NFL. And I believe they're going to remain undefeated this week, as they will beat Cleveland 28-10.
Who would have thought to begin this season that the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West would be the lone undefeated team come week 8?
I would never guessed. I would.
You gotta admit, the Kool-Aid Man has done a great job here. And he might even be better than Kool-Aid, be the Kool-Aid Man. Andy Reid, we all know. Yes, Alex Smith has done a decent job, but this team kind of reminds me of the 2011 Miami Dolphins, who surprisingly won the AFC, or 2007. Whenever they won the AFC East in the
I
Wild.
think it was 2009.
2009, when Brady got hurt, and Tony Sperano's first year, they adopted the Wildcat. This team kind of reminds me of that, as in, they don't look like a 7-0 team, but they are. Their defense is amazing, but their offense is conservative. This week it doesn't hurt them because they're playing the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns are basically back to where they were before they traded Trent Richardson, because of their quarterback scenario, which they got a can of Campbell soup started as their quarterback. I'm surprised you didn't laugh there.
Yeah,
but anyway.
I got you, don't worry.
Kansas City goes to 8-0 and beats Cleveland by a score of 24-17, especially at home. But I think they win it regardless.
I'm waiting for that game. I'm waiting for a challenge for Kansas City. That's what I'm waiting for, a challenge game for them. Then we'll see if they're a real team or not.
Mm-hmm. And then the game, my game of the week. Detroit against Dallas.
I would have to say this is probably the best game you're going to see this week, as these two pretty much, I would like to say, powerhouse kind of offenses going at each other here. As you got a Dallas team under Tony Romo, who's been looking pretty good these last couple of weeks, was having some troubles with a win over Philly last week to take the division lead back, as they are now at a 4-3 record. As he has some depth on his wide receiver chart of Des Bryant and I'm trying to think who else they have wide receivers here. Williams, I believe, is one of them. Can't remember his first name for some reason right now.
D'Angelo.
Something
like
that, yeah. But anyways, this offense is really a great offense. Little kind of hurt in the running back situation with Murray being out, and so they're pretty much focused on the passing for the next couple of weeks while he is out. But their defense at times is a little struggle, and same with the Detroit defense, as they can allow a lot of points as well. The Detroit offense of Stafford and Kelvin Johnson are a huge threat right there. And then you have Reggie Bush as well, who, if he can have a good game, they could have a great game overall as a team. This one, I'm going to say this is going to be a really close game in this one. And I'm going to say Detroit is going to win this 27-24, but it's going to be a game-winning field goal by Akers to win this game.
This one, I literally had to flip a coin on. Just like Pittsburgh and the Jets a couple weeks ago, I had to flip a coin on that and I won that. So I flipped the coin again. And this time it came up, surprisingly, Dallas. And I hate to do it, but the Lions are going to have to prove me wrong again this week. Because with the way Schwartz played very conservatively against Cincinnati, and if they do not make the playoffs or at least come close this year, I think he should be fired, because not only because of that, because of there being no secondary, and plus the discipline is low on this team. They're going to have to make a name for themselves this week. I think Dallas wins this game 24-21 on a game-winning field goal. But Detroit, please prove me wrong. Whatever you do, yes, give Cole this game. Prove me wrong. Just do it. And now, we're going to feature something different on this show. We're going to have a second segment instead of these long 40-minute videos that I know you don't want to watch half of. So, second segment coming up next.